The AI on this robot vacuum is absolutely insane. I can honestly say, if you want the best obstacle avoidance on any vacuum under $1,000, you're gonna wanna stick around because the Eufy X9 Pro has completely surprised me. Before I show you any more of this crazy onboard AI, let's see what's inside the box. First up, you get the X9 Pro itself. The charging base, which also has the clean and dirty water tanks inside, a US and an international wall adapter for charging, an extra filter, and of course, the manual and setup guide. Design-wise, the X9 Pro is a sleek-looking robot vacuum. It's not bulky like many others on the market, and the matte black design looks great in any space. I do wish the base had some type of cable management on the backside, but since the included cord is relatively short, it's pretty easy to manage on its own, so honestly, it's just me being picky. One thing I really appreciate is how far inside the vacuum sits within the base. It doesn't protrude out like many others on the market in this price range. The X9 Pro has multiple sensors located all around the robot, in addition to the AIC camera. These allow it to avoid everyday objects such as shoes, toys, furniture, and more. It's absolutely insane to see this thing work, so we'll be coming back to that later on in the video during the testing portion, which you're gonna wanna see, trust me. The top of the X9 Pro flips up, exposing the removable 410 milliliter dustbin. On the bottom, we have an anti-tangle brush and corner brushes for vacuuming along baseboards and to clean out cracks and crevices on the bottom part of walls. Additionally, we have a new mopping system that Eufy calls Mop Master. It consists of two pentagonal, circular, rotating dynamic mops that can automatically lift 12 millimeters when carpet is detected. The other part of the Mop Master system is located on the base, and that's the auto clean station, which will automatically clean the mop heads during and after a cleaning session. Once cleaning is completely finished, it will dry the mop heads using heated drying at 104 degrees Fahrenheit to avoid mildew and odors. The base also supports auto emptying of dirty water and auto filling of clean water within the robot vacuum to dampen the heads. There's an LED light bar on the top of the base that will change colors based on the status of the vacuum, which is great to have. I have really hyped up the obstacle avoidance on the Eufy X9 Pro. So before we talk about anything else, let me show you why it's got me so excited. Typically, when I run these obstacle avoidance tests, 99% of the robot vacuums that I have tested run over power cords or at the very least bump into them and then move them all around, putting them in a different location than when they started. More so, when it comes to items like my son's hanging gym set that you see right here, other vacuums will bump into it with a bit of force before correcting themselves and going around it. But that's not the case with the X9 Pro. The only mistake that it made on the first round of testing, which consisted of 4 objects, was that the side brush lightly grazed the wall cable on the floor. But as you can see, once that happened, it used its AI camera multiple times to see where it's positioned in order to avoid it. If that wasn't impressive enough, I placed 8 objects for the next test in this small confined area. It's crazy. The X9 Pro performed scary good. The AIC camera is so good that it's almost frightening. The only little blip that it encountered was on my son's tiny inflatable book that weighs just a few grams, which was knocked over by one of the side brushes, barely touching it. You can clearly see prior to it falling that the X9 Pro tried to avoid it and it recognized it as an object. But once it fell, it did push it towards one of the shoes for a second until it realized it was an object again and then immediately started avoiding it. This robot vacuum is the ultimate, and I mean ultimate companion to anyone with children or pets. I honestly have never seen AI obstacle avoidance this good, especially for under $1,000. When it comes to the cleaning performance on the X9 Pro, it's very similar to the Narwhal Freo I recently reviewed a few weeks back. Like the Narwhal, the X9 Pro does not have an auto-emptying dustbin inside of its base and instead focuses on its mopping capabilities. However, if I were to choose between the Narwhal Frio and the X9 Pro, I would take the X9 Pro without a doubt. Not only does it cost $300 to $400 less, but the vacuuming capabilities are much better and the AI obstacle avoidance is way ahead of the Narwhal. The X9 Pro has a suction power of 5,500 pascals, which is more than enough for my home, which houses a 6-month-old and a small dog that sheds like crazy. Taking a look at the dustbin here, you can see just off of the obstacle avoidance testing I was doing, it was able to remove tons of pet hair, dust, and other debris that I was not able to see with my naked eye. Speaking of the dustbin, it is 410 milliliters as I previously stated, which is plenty big enough for multiple cleaning sessions depending on the size of your home and how dirty your floors are. Switching things over to the mopping function of the X9 Pro, the Mop Master system is a funny name for sure, but its performance is fitting for a name like that. It consists of dual rotating dynamic pentagonal mops that spin 3 rotations per second with a pressure of 2.2 pounds, making them very good at cleaning. Check this out. We recently moved into our new home. This is a new build, we're very fortunate, and we've been doing a ton of manual cleaning to remove overspray caused by the painters and the builders. I tell you what, these builders these days they're really slacking on the quality when it comes to new homes. And after all of our scrubbing on our hands and knees and manual mopping, the X9 Pro still managed to clean this much grime off the floor. I know, it's gross, but still, it's impressive nonetheless. What's crazy is it does this without any chemicals. It's just straight up water, which I really appreciate since it means the floors are safe for my son who is now learning to crawl and he's going to be going everywhere. Another part of the MopMaster system is the auto lifting feature. So the Eufy X9 Pro has the highest lift of any auto lifting robot vacuums on the market at 12 millimeters, making it suitable for 99% of carpeted floors out there. Now let's talk about that final part of the MopMaster system, the auto clean station. By default, the X9 Pro is set up to clean itself frequently during a cleaning session to ensure the mop pads are clean and free of grime while it's scrubbing your floors so it doesn't trail a mess around. I really appreciate that. Once the entire session is done, however, it will do a final cleaning of the mop pads and initiate the heated drying, which, as I said, goes all the way up to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, so watch your fingers and toes. It does this, that way the mop pads stay free of mold, mildew, and any funky smells, but you're gonna wanna make sure you empty the water tank after every session if you don't want any smells. If you're wondering about the noise from the X9 Pro, I measured it to be around 61.7 decibels using the decibel meter app on my iPhone. I was standing around 6 to 7 feet away from the X9 Pro while measuring the sound. This was also using the turbo mode, which is the highest setting for the X9 Pro's suction power. When taking that into consideration, the X9 Pro is one of the quieter robotic vacuums that I've tested. It's not the quietest, but it's far from the loudest. The X9 Pro connects to your smartphone via the Eufy Clean app, which is one of my favorite apps out there for managing your robotic vacuums. The interface is simple and easy to use without any unwanted clutter. It makes finding settings and starting tasks much easier versus other apps out there such as the iRobot app, which I truly dislike. Inside the Eufy Clean app, you're able to start auto mapping with multi-floor support. Once auto mapping is performed, you can customize the rooms by joining them, dividing them, of course, renaming them, and then setting up no-go zones. All pretty standard features. But one feature I don't see very often on other vacuums is the ability to configure the cleaning sequence, which you can do on the X9 Pro. You can assign where the vacuum will start cleaning and where it will end. I love this. The way I have it set up is to clean the area of the house where my son is sleeping first, and then finish over by the dock, so that way there's less travel for the robot. This works out perfectly since the noise won't keep him awake at night or possibly wake him if he goes to bed early. You can also select how each room gets cleaned. For instance, if you only want the living room to be vacuumed, but want the bathroom to be mopped and the kitchen to be mopped and vacuumed, you can set this up inside the app. Additionally, there are adjustments for the suction power and the amount of water used during each cleaning process. If you don't want the vacuum to automatically determine when it needs to be cleaned or dried, you can toggle off these auto settings and then start the processes manually right inside the app. I really don't suggest doing this since it's easy to forget, which will leave you with a smelly vacuum. One feature I feel every robotic vacuum should have but doesn't are manual controls. Being able to steer the X9 Pro to a spill or dirty area and manually clean using the controls on your phone is really nice if you don't feel like fiddling around with area or zone cleaning. Lastly, for maintenance, you can check out the status of all the accessories right inside of the app. This way you'll know if you need replacements or if something needs to be cleaned like a sensor in order to keep your X9 Pro running at tip-top shape. One thing I really love about Eufy is that they offer replaceable batteries for the robotic vacuums, and the process is extremely easy to swap it out. This means if you buy the X9 Pro and keep it for years to come and notice that the battery life isn't what it used to be, you could purchase a spare battery for just a few bucks and replace it yourself versus having to mail it into a warehouse or some type of store for professional repair, which will surely set you back a pretty penny. Okay, so you might be wondering, how much was I paid for this video since I haven't said anything negative about the X9 Pro?
$1 million.
While yes, Eufy did sponsor this video, they also informed me they wanted me to give my honest opinions, that way they could improve their products moving forward, or if there's something that they can push out in an app update, they can do that as well. For starters, and probably the biggest thing, is adding an auto dustbin emptying feature to the base. Vacuums such as the Roborock Q Revo offer all three, and that vacuum happens to be around the same price as this one. But if you want to see me compare the X9 Pro to the Q Revo, let me know in the comment section. However, I can tell you right off the bat that while the Q Revo may have that added functionality, the X9 Pro is miles ahead of it with its obstacle avoidance and slightly better mopping capabilities. Another thing I would like to see on the X9 Pro is access to the AIC camera. It would be really neat to get a POV perspective while using the manual controls inside of the app. This way it could double as a security camera, and since Eufy does have a plethora of security devices, it would fit nicely into their ecosystem. Lastly, and this is just me being petty, but I would really like some type of cable management on the backside of the base. Sorry, Eufy. Outside of those things, the Eufy X9 Pro is the best robot vacuum I have tested in this price range, with its AI capabilities that exceed vacuums nearly double the price. If you're interested in grabbing one for yourself, there is a discount code in the description as well as the pinned comment. In addition to the discount code, you'll also find purchase links located down there as well.